and welcome to another video on how to paint the Aeldari Avatar. So in this video I'm going to be showing you how to paint the glow effect in between all the muscles to make it look kind of like a lava, and also going to be showing you how to make the cooled kind of magma look as well on the body parts. So to start with, I'm using some, well, I've got two yellows on there. So there's Flash Gitz yellow and then Flash Gitz yellow mixed with white below that. So I'm actually starting with the mix with white. Now it's not too much white. If you mix them 50-50, you'll get something that looks a little bit closer to Dawn yellow. So you want it a bit darker than that. And we are going to be mixing in white more to it later on. But the reason I added a little bit of white to it was just it helps with the opacity, because yellow is quite a translucent colour. So you can see there I just went over all of the cracks and just filled them in. And it's quite important this, but really, slather the paint in there, because even though I've added a bit of white, into there, it's it's still quite translucent. You can see how it like the red shows through at the edges. So here you can see like I'm really layering in a second layer now. It looks a bit like sort of like a lemon yellow, I guess. But while it's still wet, I go with some white. So I'm using P3 Morrow White, but the actual white doesn't matter too much. But this is the same white that I mixed in with the Flash Gitz yellow. And what you do is you just kind of mix it in there. So it should be kind of like really quite runny in there with the amount of paint that I've like kind of slathered into the cracks. And at this stage, you think, wow, it's looking a little bit too pastel, too pale. But the thing is, when it dries, it's not going to be quite as white as this. But at the same time, not all of the cracks are going to be the same. And this is also important. So if you look at the next section where I did a quick test run just to see how it would look. There's areas where it's kind of quite pale and go up to pure white. You can see how I've left it to dry there. But then as it goes back down into the other muscles, it's still yellow. And that's where the other colour, so if you look on the wet palette there, I've got some oranges and things, and those are going to be mixed in a bit at the edges. And those will give identity to the colour, because, as I said, at the moment it looks a little bit pale. Now, here, so I'm doing this in slightly the wrong order. Here I'm using some Mephiston red mixed with a small amount of black. And I'm just going over, and you're pretty much going to go over all of the muscles using this. So you might be wondering, why did I even bother airbrushing it red to begin with? This does make it cover a lot easier. But the Mephiston red with the small amount of black in it, you're just going to go and you're going over the side of the edge and you're cutting down at the edges that go up to these glowing sections in between the muscles. This is a really important part, actually. It will make those sections look a lot cleaner, because, as I said, when you first start, you just throwing loads of paint in there, getting a lot of paint in, and you're going to get paint all over the edges and things, and it's just not going to look very good. But it's important to get that level of opacity of paint in there, just to make it look better. So for one, it is making it look a lot neater. The other thing is it's really pushing the contrast up, because it's quite a dark red, and you've gone up to almost white on the glow section. So there, just that small section there, just painting over with the dark red right next to the whitish yellow. See how bright the contrast is. It almost looks like it's glowing there. Now, the reason I said the previous section I'd done in the wrong order is because now I've gone back with just pure Flash Gitz yellow, and I'm mixing that in at the base, so it's all around the kind of like whatever they're called, the little muscles in between the lats and the chest, and so you're just getting a bit of yellow in there. So not all the parts of the glow want to be the same color. And again, if you, it's behind the wet palette image at the moment, but if you look at the neck area, so I've got one part where it's a really bright white, and then it goes out to yellow at the edges, and then I've even got some orange mixed in some of the darker parts as well. And also, if you get some of the orange a little bit higher up towards where it will touch the darker red, that will help to give the impression that it's a bit of a glow kind of like seeping out as well. So here you can see there's a little time skip, and I went by and I just covered all those sections in the darker red there, and you can see how much neater and cleaner it makes it all. And now we're going to do even more damage to the airbrush red that we originally started with. So I've got some black paint. Now I'm using Vallejo model color black. You can use a Baden black, or whatever black you have laying around. The only thing is the Vallejo model color black is quite nice and it's really matte. So I find it helps a little bit better in that regard, but you won't go too far wrong with whatever black you're using really. But the trick with applying it is, one, you're not going up to the very edge, so you want some of the red to show at the edges, and you're not covering the whole of the muscle section. So if there's little divots and dints and scratches or whatever, small indentations in the muscle shape, ignore those, leave those red. It's only the more raised areas. If you find you've gone over too many of these little indentations, it doesn't matter. You just go back with some of the other red colour and you can fill them in again. And so this will help to give the impression that there are, little hot spots still behind the muscles. So it kind of like looks like they're sort of lumps of dried rock or whatever floating on top of the lava underneath. So you can see here I'm just going back with the red, just putting little spots in, and you can see it looks quite nice there. And it's not a difficult style of painting this. You see it's quite messy with the layer of black. You don't want to go too heavy with the black. It is you have to be a bit careful. So you just use a very small amount of paint on the tip of the brush. You can be quite messy on how you apply it in terms of just slathering it on there, getting kind of like a sketchy kind of look. But you don't want, I say a sketchy kind of look, you don't really want brush marks visible, but you can have it kind of splodgy, if you know what I mean. And so here you can see I've gone in with some Firedragon Bright. You can use Trollslayer Orange as well. In fact, Trollslayer Orange is probably a little bit better in terms of the oranginess of it. Firedragon Bright has a bit more white in it. It's not going to make a massive amount of difference. The Firedragon Bright will be more opaque, but it won't look quite as hot. Whereas the Trollslayer Orange, that'll look much kind of warmer, but it's a bit more translucent. So yeah, it really depends what look you want to go for. But either of them will work pretty much. So there you can just see I'm carrying on adding bits of the black onto the muscle sections, and this is really again just to push the high contrast look of the glow, and that's the main thing that you want to aim for, this high contrast look. That's why the white's in there, so there's so much white in the rib section. But just to really stress that for the amount of white that you're adding, don't add white everywhere, because if you just use white everywhere, it won't have the same glow. You need the yellow at the edges and in different parts, because that'll trick your eye into making the white sections look like they're bright white hot, and then the yellow indicates that it is a hot colour. Whereas if it's all just white, then it's white. There's no play in the colour to try to give that indication that it's hot. So here there's two greys at the bottom, and one of it is a mix. So it's Slanesh grey. What? Wait, let me just check. It's Daemonette hide. There we go. I knew it was a Slanesh colour. And that's mixed with a little bit of you can use a Baden black, or you can use Vallejo model colour black. It doesn't matter too much really, but it just gives a dark grey colour. I thought it was just funny to use a Slanesh grey because obviously the Aeldari have their issues with Slanesh, but that's just like a lore thing. But regardless, you're just using it's a dark grey on top of the black. Now obviously you're not covering all of the black, and you can do this again in a very patchy style, and then once you've done that, you can be very careful in adding some Daemonette hide there, but don't add too much Daemonette hide. The more Daemonette hide you add, the more you're taking away from the high contrast look, and it won't look as glowy in the bright parts. It just won't work as well, but it does give the impression that the lava has dried on on the more kind of chunky areas, like the further away they are from the lava and the glow points. So it adds a little bit of detail as well. It makes it look a bit more interesting. But as I said, just be really careful with how you add this. Don't go too over the top. If you find you've gone a little bit heavy with it, then again just go back with the grey, which is Daemonette hide mixed with black, or just go with the pure black as well. Now you can just stay with the flat black, but as I said, it will just look a little bit plain when you look at it, because there won't be any detail really painted on there. And that's pretty much it. You just have to cover the whole body using that. It is quite a quick, simple method because you don't have to be super neat or anything. But anyway, that's the end of this video. Just a quick one, just to show you how to do the lava and the muscles. And then the next video is coming up very shortly. Thank you very much for watching.